Separated by cosmic cabinets, Brandon and Logan are broadcasting the Nintendo Stuff podcast using their telepathic powers. My name's Brandon Miracle, broadcasting live from the Break Room Arcade. If you look south of me in the video version, you'll see Logan Welliver in a world of green, because I decided not to key him out, because I didn't have the time to get it right.
I'm here!
I'm here!
And my video is showing.
So, I'm actually hosting today's show. It's a job that I have thoroughly missed, I gotta say. Logan, you've been doing a great job handling it over the last several months.
Thank you.
For those of you who don't know, I was having some internet issues and some computery issues, and everything came crashing down, but here I am. We're back. So Logan and I, from now on, are probably going to kind of bounce back and forth between who handles the hosting of the show, just kind of keep the load off of one another, you know, because it's a lot of work.
It is. It's quite a bit of work.
Now, it's funny, because we decided on the podcast topic Thursday morning. We were like, let's talk about the Wii Shop Channel closing, because, you know, there's a lot of memories attached to it. It was pretty important to the industry, if you ask me.
Right.
And now it's gone. But, of course, after I was done, you know, putting together that cool little thumbnail you see there and getting the concept ready, taking some notes, Nintendo drops a big old bomb of news onto us right after that, and I'd already locked in my answer on, you know, who wants to be a millionaire, and I went home with no money, so here we are.
Right.
But we're still going to keep the same major topic. We are going to talk about the Wii Shop Channel's official closure and, you know, kind of how we feel about that. So why don't we just go right into that. Logan, first of all, what's your experience with the Wii Shop Channel? Did you buy anything off of it?
Yeah, no, and this is what's going to make this conversation probably increasingly unique, is that I didn't really mess around with the Wii Shop Channel, right? My biggest experience was probably downloading a virtual console game or two.
Mm-hmm.
But for the most part, like, that was in the later years. I didn't touch it early on. I never was like aware of, oh, this is one of the darlings, the gems within the Wii Shop Channel. It wasn't something that I felt like I was a part of, right? So, but obviously, like, so many people are very much fond of the Wii Shop Channel. And that era of downloadable content, and a lot of it's a mystery to me, because I just don't understand, you know. Not that I wouldn't understand, I just haven't heard a lot of the arguments, you know, other than like we like the Wii Shop Channel, and everybody's freaking out once it's closing down, and buying all the points that they can so they can buy all the games that they can, you know, before it all just goes away. Because now it has like only like a handful of applications on it, and they're like mostly updates, you know.
Yeah.
Like, if you need an update to this game, like, that's still available. But all of the other stuff, like, if you have the game, like, you can re-download it, but other than that, like, there's nothing on the channel anymore.
Yeah, you can't purchase anything new.
Yeah.
So I remember back when the Virtual Console was still announced. I don't think it was immediately called the Virtual Console. I can't remember for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But basically they were like, hey, the Wii is going to be able to play all of these old games. And that was mind-blowing to me as a kid. I'm like, you mean my new game console, my new Nintendo, can play all my old Nintendos? At the time, right, I thought it was like physically backwards compatible, because, you know, I was a little kid. I didn't.
Right,
the idea of digital games was still foreign to me.
Mm-hmm.
This was like my personal entryway into that entire concept, and now I play a ton of games digitally. I know there are a lot of people out there who are, you know, like, very physical forward when it comes to their games. Or like, you know, I gotta have the game physically. That tangibility of it, that personal connection to it's really important to them.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, there's just the convenience factor of having games digitally. It just can't be beat. And it's also interesting because I'm kind of similar to wow, I'm kind of similar to you in that I didn't download a lot of games on the Wii. I
Yeah.
did download some Virtual Console games, one in particular. Uh, back in the old Super Smash Brothers Brawl online gaming days, I was part of a like a Nintendo forum. Back before Discord, back before Twitter was big, and back before these communities could be found elsewhere. I was
Right.
part of a big Smash Brawl community on a old forum called WePals, which no longer exists. Sad face.
Yeah, there's a lot of that, isn't there?
Yeah. Uh, but we did like an online tournament one time, and the winner got a $20 Nintendo Wii Shop points card, because they were called points back then and not just
Right.
money. Yeah, and the person won a $20 card. I ended up winning that tournament, and I got the $20 card, and I used it to buy The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask for Virtual Console, a game I
Right.
had never played before. That was my first time getting to play that game. So the Wii Shop Channel, for me, served as a way for me to play games that I never got a chance to play before.
Right.
And that's kind of where it sits in my heart.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty significant. I mean, I remember a time before the Wii even came out, and my older brother was talking about how Nintendo had plans for this console, and it could play, all of these games. It could play all the current games. It could play GameCube games. It could play N64 games, NES games, SNES games, all of it, right? Full backwards compatibility, like you were talking about earlier. And like that right there is a really exciting prospect. Like, guys, you have access to it all. And obviously it took a minute for it all to come together, but eventually you did have this beautiful collection of virtual console games that you could play from all these different eras, and then you're still playing the new games, and now that's kind of just standard,
Yeah, it's
like
weird, right?
yeah, I can go on my PS4, and granted I would have to have the money, and if I paid $20 a month, I could play a huge collection of PS2, PS3 games, PS4 games, just because I pay that money, right?
Yeah.
And that's kind of just feels like the next step forward. And obviously it echoes into what Nintendo is doing now with the NES games. It's like, okay, well, you paid that $20 for the year. Okay, you also get to play all these games. Now, we can have a discussion about the selection of games, but I have no doubts that it will grow.
Of course. We have evidence of that already, too.
Right.
The Wii Shop Channel was more than just a place to get virtual console games. It also served as a place to get what they called WiiWare, which is what today you would call indie games and third-party games.
Or the Nintendo branding Nindy.
Right.
So
I think there was also some first-party WiiWare as well, like Pokemon Rumble, I think was originally a WiiWare game. Pokemon Ranch as well. I did have a few experiences with some WiiWare titles that I was really into. Unfortunately, I can't remember the name of one of them that stood out to me, because it's been a long time.
Right.
But one of them was called And Yet It Moves, to play as a little paper man in a world made out of paper, and you use the Wii remote, and depending on the way you turned it, the entire world around him would turn in that direction. And it's a 2D platformer. So basically, I guess it could be a little bit like Monkey Ball, where you, rather than moving the character, you're moving the world around them.
Right.
And it played entirely on that concept, and that was super cool. And it was a game I got to play, using the Wii's functionality, and it was really interesting. And I wouldn't have been able to do it without the Wii Shop Channel, because there's no way that game would have made a physical release.
Right.
And I mean, on top of that, Wii Shop Channel was also a place to get new software, or new channels as they were called back then. Like the Everybody Votes channel was something you had to download.
Yeah.
Check Me Out channel where you could go download other people's Miis.
Yeah, they did a lot of really creative, like little extra things with the Wii. I mean, in contrast on the Switch, like there's not a whole lot extra. It plays your games, you know.
It's pretty bare bones. The Wii felt like an environment when you got on it,
Mm-hmm.
just like this treasure trove of like applications. It's kind of weird when you look at the Wii now and the way its menu is laid out. And you know, they're called channels rather than apps, but it doesn't look too different from a smartphone.
Right.
So in that way, the Wii kind of like paved the way for where we are now. Of course, I want to say iPhone had just come out around the same time, did it not?
Right, but at the same time, like Nintendo had never done something like this before.
Right.
Right? It wasn't like they were offering like downloadable titles or a lot of like online play before the Wii. So, in the same sense, like, okay, we need an online storefront. And what is that going to look like? What kind of content is it going to feature? Are we going to make original content for it? Obviously, they did. And they continue to do it, right? They make smaller games that you could probably download, but they're not going to necessarily produce, physical uh, cartridges or discs for it.
I think the whole world of like downloadable video games was still kind of young at the time, especially for consoles. But like
yeah, no, I mean,
Steam had only been around for 3 years by this point.
I mean, you look at it even now, especially on consoles, right? You look at the kind of revenue that's coming from digital sales as opposed to physical sales, and it used to be like really, really insignificant, and I don't think it's even half yet, at least in certain realms, right? But it's even nearing that point where physical media is actually less consumed than the actual just digital files.
Yeah.
So
I mean, that's the
it's
way things
definitely
are
on
with,
its way out.
it's the way things are with music, is it not?
No, absolutely. And obviously music's a little further along than that, considering, I mean, we literally just stream it now. I go on YouTube, I get it off the internet. I don't have these files on my computer even.
Same with movies and TV, I guess.
Yeah, and there's also that for video games, and that's a small portion of it, right? But the
Right.
technology is getting better, and it's just a progression of like, what's the easiest way to get these into people's hands, and what's the most convenient way to make it, that work. And we find that let's just pay a monthly fee and just stream it from the internet because we don't want to have to download these,
No.
right? So
one of the things about the Wii Shop Channel I think I'm going to miss the most is the music. That's something I think is sorely missing from Nintendo Switch. Because it always felt like, you were actually going to the store and it was the music playing over the loudspeaker and you're poking around looking at stuff with that bubbly tune in the background.
Yeah, the musical environment of the Wii as a whole was just great.
Yeah, it's so good.
And the Wii Shop Channel in particular is particularly iconic.
Mm-hmm.
It's just something that it evokes emotion. It evokes that nostalgia. And for good reason. It's a catchy tune. It set the mood. It's been memed like a million times over. It's I also heard that it reverted back to its like first design after it closed.
It did?
That's what I heard. Don't quote me on that.
I'll have to go take a look at that, I guess.
Yeah. But it really seemed like they kind of just laid it down to die.
They pressed the off
nobody
button.
uses this anymore, and we gotta get rid of it because why are we keeping it open anymore?
Boostman, you can still re-download games, from what I understand. You just can't buy anything.
I believe
new.
that's the case. Yeah.
It's kind of interesting too. I was thinking about this while you were talking, but the remember the DSi? Like the whole
Um.
point of that system was the fact that it had an online storefront, which was based
Oh, right.
almost entirely off of the Wii Shop.
Yeah.
So it spawned it basically spawned a piece of hardware.
Right. Yeah.
Now, obviously, the
Uh,
DSi shop didn't take off the same way because it wasn't nearly in as nearly many hands as the Wii was, but
no.
you know,
But
then
the
we
fact
had
that they were like, okay, we're gonna bring this to our portable console, you know, make sure that people can also download things from it. So we'll put internet on it just for that. Um,
and obviously, you know, that eventually all evolved into the eShop on the 3DS
right.
and the Wii U, and once again on the Switch. Um, yeah, but I feel like the Wii Shop Channel was a revolutionary thing. I don't need like piece of software. What do you call it? A revolutionary thing, or a system
Yeah.
that used to be called the Revolution.
Right. Right. No, I mean, for as much as Nintendo didn't do during that generation, they did some things that blossomed into better things. You know,
Yeah, it
I
goes
mean,
on. It often goes ignored too.
you look at the state of the eShop on the Switch, and it's like, wow, there are no lack of games, no lack of good games. Um,
There is a lack of music.
there is lack of music, but that goes back to the whole thing. Like, it's really,
Bare
really bare
bones.
bones.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, not that I don't think that might change down the line, but you never
Mhm.
know, right?
Of course. Um, but yeah, I just wanted to take some time to talk about the Wii Shop Channel, what it did for Nintendo, and even kind of the rest of the industry as we talked about PlayStation and Xbox and what they're doing.
Mhm.
But as the namesake of today's episode, Wii Shop Channel, we'll miss you. Did you like my pun in the thumbnail?
Yeah, yeah, it's
uh
pretty good. I pulled another pun in the Discord too.
oh, you did.
So yeah,
Very nice.
man.
But before we get on to the rest of the episode, we do have some things to talk about. The Patreon is going to be restructured soon, just so you guys know. I'll get into that more as we figure it out. There are just some things that have to change. Excuse me. But we'll get into that. Things that aren't changing, you'll get early videos at the $1 reward, early access, as well as some podcast perks. But we kind of need to refigure that aspect out, if you ask me. But we'll talk about that more as we kind of nail it down. As far as the Discord is concerned, there's a link to that in the description if you want to become part of the daily conversations that take place there. One of the cool channels you'll find in the Discord is Find a Match. If you're looking for people to play online with and you don't want to go to a forum like I used to, you can hang out in our Discord and find some matches there. We play Splatoon 2, we play Mario Kart, Super Smash Brothers. Basically, you can go there and ask for any kind of game and see if someone is there and they want to play too. We also do those viewer battle streams for Smash Brothers and Mario Kart. I assume we'll do those for more games in the future as they become easier to handle. But yeah, just wanted to do a quick plug of that. Videos for the week. We do have video coming up on Monday morning. We can't talk about what it is, but you'll see it when it's there. And we're working on that pretty hard. I think you guys are gonna like it.
It'll be up then.
In terms of other videos, I think that's the only one right now that's explicitly on the docket, but we'll let you know what else is coming down the pipeline. We'll get into some Nintendo news, because this is the Nintendo Stuff podcast, and we should stuff it with Nintendo stuff. See what I did there?
I did see it.
So Nintendo announced all kinds of stuff throughout the day on Thursday. They did have their financial briefing for the fiscal year, I believe, or maybe it was just Q3 because the fiscal year isn't quite over yet. But one of the things that we learned is that the Switch has shipped 32.27 million units in its 22 months on the market. So we're officially over 30 million in sales, which is fantastic. I don't remember which system. It overtook either the N64 or the GameCube. I just don't remember which one's which.
Right. And I mean, even comparing that to like where the PS4 was at this time, the Wii was at this time.
It's trending higher.
Mm-hmm.
It's in line with Wii, but higher than PS4.
Right. And obviously this could change, but like that just kind of gives you an idea of like how fast the Switch is selling overall.
Yeah, I mean,
like
the Xbox and PS4 have been on the market since 2012 and 13.
Mm-hmm. Like they're talking about how they revised their forecast down to 7 million from 20 million.
Or 17 million.
Yes, yeah, 17 million. And you know, they're still doing like fantastically. Right,
20 million was already like an enormous number. Like,
yeah, it's a really big number.
Everyone was saying that's not possible. Turns out they may have been right.
Yeah. So it seems like 17 million seems like a really, really safe bet, considering they had 14.5 million shipped from April to December. So that's the first 3 quarters. They would have to, ship another 5.5 million in the 3 months to hit that 20 million.
There's not really any
2.5 million.
There's not really any software coming out that could help achieve that, I think.
Yeah.
And obviously if the holiday didn't carry them all the way there, I don't think it's going to happen. But that said, like 17 million is still crazy impressive.
Oh yeah. I mean, I think the PS4 is entering its 6th year, or maybe it is in its 6th year.
Mm-hmm.
And again, this is kind of just on track, and we don't know if it'll continue to, speed up and what support's going to look like even down the road. And man, they haven't even announced anything regarding like a revision of the hardware. And it's still going this hard. So
yeah,
it's
crazy.
It'll be interesting to see their strategy from here on out, because obviously we don't have a ton of 2019 news. Everybody was like, "Where's this January Direct?" And then we got bits and pieces of information.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like the stuff that we might get in a Direct, just here and there. Yeah, I don't know. I guess it's the February Direct now. We're just waiting for it.
If we end up even getting one in the end, right?
Yeah.
But we might. Never say never. Some other interesting tidbits. They also talked about the attach rates of the various games, and it's pretty dang good. Let me see if I can bring up the image here. Let's see. So, software attach rate, the highest attach rate of any game on the platform right now is Mario Kart 8 at about 47%. Odyssey right below that at 43%. Smash Brothers Ultimate at 37%. That's crazy.
It's already the third best-selling game on the platform.
Yeah, that's nutty.
So, and not far behind the others, in a very short period of time.
Right underneath Ultimate is Breath of the Wild at 36%. Under that, Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, 31%. That's pretty cool, considering the vast array of opinions towards that game.
Yeah.
And then underneath that is Splatoon 2, which also is impressive, considering how fresh and new that IP is.
Mm-hmm.
So those are some pretty impressive numbers, and it's especially impressive when you consider they're all Nintendo's first-party heavy hitters. That means that the software development time that they're putting into the system is obviously it's paying off. All of these games, every single one of them, are critically acclaimed. So, good work. Good work gets good results. Well, they also had some bad news for us in the midst of all of this, and that's that Mario Kart Tour has been delayed until the summer.
I don't know if that's bad.
Well, we can talk about that.
Okay.
They did post on their official Facebook page for Mario Kart. Our developers need more time to tinker under the hood to deliver the best possible Mario Kart experience for mobile. Apologies to everyone revving up their engines for the planned pre-April launch. Mario Kart Tour is now gearing up for the starting grid in summer 2019. So like you said, it's not necessarily a bad thing. Obviously, they are doing this because the game is in not a ready position for them. They are like, this is not acceptable. We need to put a little bit more time into it, similar to the Metroid Prime 4 announcement. But if you're looking forward to that, sorry, you're gonna have to wait a little bit longer. What's interesting is that right after this, they announced that Dr. Mario World was coming to mobile, also summer 2019.
Yeah, it seemed a little bit random. It was just kind of out there.
Yeah.
Like, I got on the internet, and all of a sudden I was seeing, oh, there's a mobile Dr. Mario game coming.
I mean, I think it's a good fit for a mobile platform.
I would agree with that.
This is like the first game that they've announced that was just like immediately, oh yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I look forward to downloading that because Dr. Mario Versus mode is a very, very fun time.
Yeah.
Some other things that have happened. Piranha Plant just dropped, along with the 2.0 Smash update.
There was like, that was one of the big things, like, oh, we're gonna get a direct because like Piranha Plant's coming out soon. And then they're like, oh no, 2.0 is coming in a day or two, and then Piranha Plant with it. So just booted up the game and
there he was.
There he was.
It was funny, like as soon as the update went live, I started seeing pictures of people posting Piranha Plant has joined the battle, like when you first start up the game. And I was like, is this being photoshopped or is this actually happening? And then I saw like 2 different versions of the patch notes. Turns out one of them was like for Europe and not North America, so they were written slightly different.
Right.
And I was like, is this real? Because I couldn't update at the time because I was recording old replays to make some videos with for later, so I couldn't update right away. I was sitting there watching replays, capturing them through the Elgato, and I'm like, I just need to know if this is true. And yes, it was. I know you got in some matches pretty much right out of the gate. So what did you think of Piranha Plant?
I've played as Piranha Plant almost exclusively since the character has dropped. Definitely feels like one of the more unique characters, like hands down. I'm kind of in love with that character already. I feel very like intimate with its moveset. Like for example,
saucy on the podcast.
Yeah, man, that back air is something else.
Is that the one where he like spits fire?
Yeah, and it's a killer. That's a kill move right there. So if you're able to land that like on a high percentage, like you're gonna do well for yourself. Like even like the down B and then being able to choose like which way your pot's gonna tip. That's and just have cool that attack. Like man, this character has so much range. The neutral like B is just that like
a spiked ball.
And man, that's so useful for just like spacing, right? Like if you have somebody coming at you with a really like powerful attack and you don't want to risk even trying to like, what if I miss or something like that? You just pop that thing off to the side and they run right into it. And it's great. And then you can have a follow-up attack. Can
we talk about that side B though? Poison?
Oh, the side B? The charged one where it was like the poison smoke?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that it does
also very useful for just like racking up damage, right?
It does like just under 50% fully charged if they take the entire hit.
Yeah, if you take the entire hit. So it really, it's just something to like, oh, maybe they're charging up for something. They're stuck in animation. You hit them with that while they're in that, and that's gonna seriously bring up that damage, and it's going to make it so much easier to deal with people.
Put it on the edge while they're trying to get back up, and then take a step back and then use the spike ball.
Also, like, you have, like, the faster, like, neutral A that is just, like, if they're up next close to you, you can just hit them really quickly. Just, like, get them in a...
That attack, that is one of the fastest jabs in the game. I think it connects on frame 2.
Yeah, again, it's just a really well-rounded character. Like there's always something. There's distance. Like you have projectiles, and the animations are fantastic.
I love that it like throws its weight into the pot to kind of like throw its body around.
Oh right, even when like you're doing your up B and you got that helicopter going around, like half of the weight's on the top, so it kind of like pendulums at that point, you
Mm-hmm.
know.
His down
Just
air spike, he uses the pot, he kind of flips it over his body and then whips it down.
mhm,
Just really cool. Like, I remember like the backlash when Piranha Plant was announced because, you know, he's not a character, but this just gave
mhm,
Sakurai so much more room to have fun and be creative and just make a character nobody
right,
expects. And I
yeah, and
think it's a great outcome.
I would argue it's one of my favorite characters at this point. You know, it's
Yep.
just that much fun to play, and then I've also had pretty great success with it, and so I don't know, man. I'm probably going to play a lot of Piranha Plant in the foreseeable future.
He's got some of my favorite alts in the game. Just like
Mm-hmm.
each one's based off of a different type of Piranha Plant, but there's so much color. I love that the second alt is like he's got the green head and then the warp pipe instead of an actual plant pot or pot
Right.
a pot. Excuse me. I love if you crouch and then someone like tries to footstool you, the Piranha Plant will like bite their feet. It's the only character who does that. The only character who damages someone from crouching. Just super cute. Plays really well into the character.
Right.
So that's pretty cool. This is not the only game that got an update, though. Splatoon 2 got the 4.4.0 update, which did some stage updates to Kelp Dome, did some balance adjustments across the board for a majority of the weapons, and then just some bug fixing. But if you look at the patch notes, it's like a mile long. You know, they don't
Yeah.
waste a beat. They work on so much. So that's pretty cool to see. In addition to that, 10 weapons from Splatoon 1 will be coming to Splatoon 2 over the course of 2019, which is pretty neat. Just forever expanding the laundry list of weapon choices in Splatoon 2.
Yeah, my understanding is that this practice was finished, but I guess the loophole is that these technically already existed, and so they're this isn't even like new weapons, right?
No, yeah, these are
Uh,
weapons from Splatoon 1, but they have alts in the game already, I think.
right, right. Yeah, they didn't bring all of the forms to Splatoon 2, but it seems like they are continually just replacing Splatoon 1. Like, there's not a lot of reasons to go back and play Splatoon 1
There
if you're
are
going to
no
be playing
reasons to
Splatoon.
go back except for a couple
Yeah.
stages.
So, and who knows, maybe they're saving those stages so they can get people to buy Splatoon 3.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised if Splatoon 3 isn't that far off.
I would not be surprised either.
Uh, in addition to that, kind of an interesting story for this week. Damon Baker, who was the head of third-party relations at Nintendo of America, recently had announced that he was leaving the company. And just a few days ago, and he announced what his new job was. And essentially, he's doing the exact same thing over at Xbox. So he jumped ship.
Yeah. Looks like Xbox is, making some moves. I mean, that's for sure. I mean, they just bought a bunch of first party studios. There's going to be a lot more exclusives on the way. Obviously, they get Damon Baker over there to do some of the magic he's been pulling over at Nintendo.
Clearly, he's done a good
Um,
job.
right, right. So they're kind of wanting to, oh, let's get a little bit of that and probably make him a pretty competitive offer. And he goes, you know what? Yeah, I'm down for this. I'm down for helping indies out on another platform.
At the same time, it's almost like, maybe he's finished his job at Nintendo. It's like, I've already
Right,
repaired the
right,
damage here. Now it's time to go somewhere else and work.
right.
I think Nintendo can probably take it from here after the success of the Switch, because it seems like third parties are
Mhm.
here to stay this time.
Yeah, I think so. I think so, and I think that'll only be increasingly so, so long as Nintendo doesn't make any too large missteps.
Yeah, but we've got this hardware for a while, so hopefully we're in good standing there. Some third party news to talk about. Now that we're talking about Damon Baker.
Mm,
Darksiders War Mastered Edition will be coming to Switch. We got that announcement during the week.
right.
To be honest, I thought this game was on Switch already.
Yeah. Um, I don't know why. I've always had a very lukewarm reaction to the Darksiders games. Tried playing 2 a little bit. Uh, just kind of felt pretty derivative, but I've heard there are good things about them, so I might go back at some point. And if I can get it for a decent price on the Switch, I'll do it. Though I'm not anticipating that I'll be playing this on the Switch if I play it. You know.
I had it on Wii U and I played like 5 or 6 hours of it, and it just wasn't my thing. Like, I love The Legend of Zelda, but I guess I just didn't like The Legend of Zelda under these circumstances.
Yeah.
In other third-party news, various European retailers have listed Mortal Kombat 11 for Switch to be launching on May 10th, which is not day and date with the other systems.
Okay, I was really confused because when I saw MK11, I was like, I don't think we're at Mario Kart 11.
No,
So
we're not.
I don't think that's what it is.
We are going to skip Mario Kart 9, though, because,
Okay.
that's what all the software companies do. They skip 9.
Yeah.
We're going to go straight to Mario Kart 10.
Uh,
Yeah, I'm a little disappointed by this, but it sounds like that it's not that big of a difference in time, right?
yeah, I think isn't it launching in April everywhere else?
I want to say that's true. I think it was just a difference. Yeah, it's a difference of 2 weeks, which is not that
Yeah,
bad.
yeah, 2 weeks isn't bad. And so if you really, really want this game on Switch, like you don't have to wait that long. Unless you're willing to just buy like 2 copies of the game, right? One on whatever it comes out when it comes out on, and then buying it on Switch at a later date. Though I feel like more people would be prone to do that if there was something like cross saves or cross progression. I haven't heard anything about that for this game, so I wouldn't anticipate it.
No, I'm gonna say a hard no on that. Probably
Yeah.
not happening. Uh, New games this week dropping today. I want to say Wargroove by Chucklefish
Yeah,
Games just came out.
yeah. I really want to play this game like really badly. I have not bought it yet for a number of reasons, including I will not finish this video out on Monday if I buy it now. Right?
And I
Uh,
won't play it until I'm done with Kingdom Hearts. So
yeah, I got like 1 or 2 things to do before I'd even touch this game because I know once I touch this game, I'll be playing until I drop. You know.
yeah, I think this is a great get for Switch. I believe it's also out on PC.
Hmm.
And PS4 and Xbox One, I want to say. This game's been in development for a long time, but from the sounds of things, wow, from the sounds of things, excuse me, I am just full of them today. From the sounds of things, the reception to Wargroove has been very, very positive,
Right.
which is a great thing to hear because I was very excited about this game, and I know you were too.
Yeah, I mean, it really just it calls back to those Advanced Wars games, the nostalgia, the how much fun I had with them, and then it just looks like the gameplay is also fantastic. It just sounds like a really solid title.
Well, we're getting close to the end here, but in typical Nintendo fashion, they like to announce things after we're done being prepared for
Of
things that
course.
are announced.
Right.
They had their financial briefing, and thanks to some reports by Nikkei, we also have some additional commentary that may or may not be true. We'll get into that. But basically, there is a rumor going around because of Nikkei, suggesting that a Switch Mini is in development and will launch this year. It's basically a stripped down version of the Switch to be sold at a lower price point. Essentially, this would be to cover, like we talked, I think, not even 2 episodes of Nintendo stuff ago, about the possibility of this happening in preparation for games like Animal Crossing and Pokemon, because obviously
Right.
they want Switches in multiple households, which I believe was a statement that was said by Furukawa today or last
Right.
night. So I am gonna have to pat us on the back. I think we were pretty much right on with what Nintendo is planning to do here.
Yeah.
Assuming that the Switch Mini is true, because we don't know that for sure yet.
Right. I mean, there's definitely some discussion about how that would happen. And obviously, like, we discussed it,
We
right?
did.
I remember that one pretty well. And so I think it would be interesting. I think it would be largely a good thing, especially if, man, I have, like, enough space on, like, you know, I now that we have cloud saves and there's, like, a reasonable account system, right?
Buy a backup Switch.
Yeah, buy a backup Switch, something that's smaller. Maybe I just start taking that one out, and
You have your
who
portable
knows?
Switch and your home Switch.
Home Switch, I do it, but then like at the home Switch, like I still have like a larger device that I'm sitting around the house, and I want to play on the toilet, but I don't want to play on the small thing. But the small one is so I can just carry it around like everywhere, and it just takes up as little space as possible.
Right.
So
I see some people being disappointed that Switch Mini is coming out and there's no sign of a Switch Pro model. I think the writing was on the wall for this. Animal Crossing's coming out this year. Pokemon Gen 8's coming out this year. This is prime time to get that budget Switch out the door.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, it's been 2 years. Like, I imagine they've been discussing, even if it doesn't happen, like, these are the kind of discussions that they would have.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, okay, do we make it smaller? Do we make it bigger? Do we add more horsepower to it? Do we try to minimize the component and have a slim model of sorts, like what's the next piece of hardware? What are we dealing with?
I guarantee
and how will it complement what we're doing right now?
Mm-hmm. I guarantee you there will be a Switch Pro model at some point. Maybe next year, maybe the year after that. But for now, it's important for them to get as many Switches as in many hands as possible, fulfill that idea of a multiple Switch household. I mean, that's already true here at my house. Me and my wife both have our own Switches. Pierre Schneider, I think, has 2 Switches for himself, and then one for each of his kids.
Yeah.
if you listen to the Nintendo voice chat, we love that show, by the way. Go ahead and give them your support. There was an episode where Pierre was recounting a tale where he forgot to bring his Switch to the airport, so when they landed in their destination, he just went out and bought another one. Or I think they bought another one before leaving, but still. It's
yeah.
so funny. But now, when Pierre forgets his Switch again, he can buy an itty-bitty one and spend less money.
Right. Just every once in a while, just drop $200 on a smaller Switch.
Right. It's that GM money.
Oh, man.
Let's see. Steve Bowling, contributor to Nintendo Life as well, recently, Game Explain, was translating the Nikkei article and basically correcting what people were saying in regards to another element to the Nikkei posting that talked about new online features that would aim to please core gamers. It was initially getting around that this would require you to pay more, but Steve kind of clarified that for us because thankfully he speaks Japanese. He said on his Twitter, the translation of the Nikkei article actually indicates, based on how I'm reading it, because obviously this can be interpreted multiple ways, as Nintendo Switch Online will be strengthened by adding new services aimed at pleasing core gamers. It's interesting that this happened because during Nintendo's financial briefing, they noted that there will be games releasing this year that have been unannounced that will take use of Nintendo Switch Online. One of which seemingly will take advantage of some of these new features that will be coming out at some point. This is kind of
whatever they may be.
Yeah, but at the same time, that's an exciting prospect. Like, they recognize that Switch Online is not that popular with the core crowd at the moment.
Right.
So apparently they're working on something behind the scenes to kind of get things up to snuff, which is an exciting prospect to me. That said, personally, I don't know what that could be. I don't know if you have any idea.
I have not a clue. We don't know if these are like new IPs or whether these are IPs that are just aimed at a more core audience. Maybe both.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this could be anything from something a little bit more gritty like Metroid Prime, which obviously we know is not coming for a while. Something like F-Zero. I don't know. There's like a ton of things that it could be. Though I feel like we should probably start, you know, cranking up like the hype engine, just get it going a little bit.
It could be
Because
that Star Fox Grand Prix game that we heard about a long time ago.
it could be. It could be. That also could be a myth. You know, we don't know. There's a lot of things we don't know. But I think one thing is for sure 2019 is going to be a good year for Nintendo. So I think we'll see some things with Nintendo Switch Online definitely change down the line for the better. And then, you know, there's still the option that they're going to, you know, release a revised Switch at some point that's smaller or more powerful or both, or, you know.
We're currently sitting at just under a third of Switch owners subscribing to the service. They reported 8 million current subscribers. Nintendo president Shintaro Furukawa, this is translated by David Gibson on Twitter, he says, retention is critical and that Switch Online's contents will be enhanced throughout the year. So obviously they like that 8 million number because they're bragging about it, but they want it to be better. They specifically said that numbers went way up specifically because of Splatoon 2 and Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Right. So I think they got the idea in their head that, you know, software is going to drive the subscription numbers first.
Right.
But they can do these other supplementary things like the NES games to also help drive sales. And we already have the rumor of the SNES games on the way, as well as 2 other unknown game emulators already built in. And I think we'll hear more about that throughout the year.
It's an exciting prospect. I mean, the more games I can play, especially, like, okay, NES is one thing, but man, SNES. Those games,
playing them with other people online, like, that's exciting.
Oh, yeah, man. Oh, that's hype.
Getting on some
NES games can be a little bit rough from time to time, but man, some of the SNES games are just off the wall.
Yeah. So that's an exciting prospect. Another exciting prospect, and this is kind of an interesting thing. Like, during the financial briefing, this was translated for us by Takashi Mochizuki, who is a member of the Wall Street Journal, who attended the financial briefing and then posted updates to his Twitter. He is framing the person who said this as Nintendo, did not specifically say who said this. So this may have just been a slide in the presentation. I don't know for sure. But what he said is that Nintendo said it's preparing at least one unannounced title for Switch in the fiscal year of 2019, which starts in April, and that fans would be delighted to know. What does that mean?
Well, I mean, it's pretty non-specific. It's just there's going to be something that seems delightful, right? It's
like they're hiding that Mario Odyssey, Breath of the Wild, Smash Ultimate level announcement for the 2019 year still in their back pocket, and they haven't given it to us yet.
Yeah,
that's how I interpret it.
I hope that's the thing, right? It's like, hey, we already have these 2 big titles coming out for sure, but also this one's gonna knock them out of the park. You know?
I have a feeling like I know why they said this, and that's 2 reasons. Mainly because 2018 was kind of a lax year for Nintendo from a first-party standpoint. Obviously, we ended strong with Pokemon Let's Go, the second party, and Smash Ultimate, which is the ultimate first-party game.
Right.
So they're doing that to kind of, cover the base, saying, hey, we know last year maybe wasn't the best in the first-party department, but rest assured, we've got something big coming this year. And also because they just announced that Metroid Prime 4 has restarted development.
Right.
So this is kind of, to soften the blow a little bit. That said, the blow was already soft in the first place. They did a great job handling that. We talked about that last week, if you want to check that out.
Yeah, it was a lot of positive reception. A lot of positive. Like, you could tell everybody's like, dang, we're not going to get it that soon. Oh, but it's gonna be that much better when it comes back. You
Just
know,
putting that Retro Studios logo on the screen was enough for people to be like, okay, all right, all right.
whatever.
That's fine.
Let's make it happen.
So yeah, I'm excited to see whatever this game could be. Could be Pikmin 4, could be a new F-Zero, could be a sequel to Super Mario Odyssey, could be a brand new Zelda game, could be anything. And whatever they decide, whatever it is, I don't care. I'll be excited to see it. Because this year's already stacked, so knowing that there's more is very reassuring to me.
Yeah. No, we're in a good place. We will be properly entertained.
Absolutely. Knowing that Nintendo Switch Online's getting some new stuff, they got some brand new games they haven't even shown us yet. We still have not had a Nintendo Direct. We haven't had a regular Direct since September of 2018.
Yeah.
It's been 5 months, Logan.
Well, we'll get there. It'll happen. I guarantee you we will get another Direct at some point.
Thanks.
It will come and you will watch it and you will be like, wow, that was informative on all things Nintendo. And
this was another base that was covered during the financial briefing. I believe Takashi is the one who asked the question. He's like, yo, it's been a while since we've had one of those cool Directs. What's going on with that? And they're like, our stance on Nintendo Directs hasn't changed. And that's all they said. Which is basically their way of saying, we know.
We'll do what we want, and you'll hear about it at some point.
Yeah. I am going a little stir crazy. I don't know about you. Because, there's some cool games I want to know about, like Animal Crossing.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm less so just because I've kept myself distracted. I just keep myself doing other things. I keep busy. I make that money. I make sure that I'm playing other games. I get some exercise. I play some music. And that seems to be just enough to kind of like curb the impulse to get too antsy about these games.
It's just a little rough from like a production standpoint because, we're here to cover Nintendo news. The problem is we went like 5 straight weeks without anything.
Well, it is what it is, right? And then we find other things to talk about. But I do agree. Like, I would love to start talking about this stuff again. I'd love for them to just, here's a bunch of stuff to, because I mean, we relish in it, right? It's just, it's always a good time when like Nintendo's like, here's new games, here's old games, here's gameplay for games you heard about, but we haven't seen gameplay yet. So here's that. And it's a good time.
Mm-hmm.
So it's easy to be anxious for that because it's such a good time.
So with that, the Nintendo Direct is coming. Eventually. Period.
Eventually.
They're riding out that wave of Smash Ultimate. They just dropped Piranha Plant. They know people are going to be talking about that, covering that on their YouTube channels and all that stuff.
Right.
They just kind of need to let that blow over for a bit before they, start hitting us with the cool news. And, January had Mario and Luigi. Well, it did have Mario and Luigi, but it had Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe. February, from what I understand, does not have a release. There is nothing in this window. Piranha Plant ended up coming out in January, so you can't even say Piranha Plant came out this month.
Yeah.
And I remember February being kind of a dry month last year, because all we got, well, I shouldn't say that, but we got the Bayonetta 1 and 2 port, and that's all we had in the month of February. But as far as I know, there is nothing in February of this month. So how do you fill that out? Give us a Nintendo Direct.
Or that'll be yourself. Fill out your own February.
That too. I mean, I'm playing other games, obviously. Like,
right.
You haven't seen me for a while, maybe for reasons.
Yeah. No, I mean, there's always something to play. But
I'm almost done.
Good.
Yeah, I think that's gonna do it for this week's Nintendo Stuff podcast. Logan's got to go to work.
That I do.
Responsible
human being.
That's why we kind of pushed things up a little bit, just making sure you guys get your show, and also to give us enough time to get that video done that we got working on.
Yeah, man.
So with all that in mind, guys, if you want to help support the show, if you hit subscribe on the YouTube channel, that'd be pretty cool. Like the video as well, if you liked what you heard here. You can also find us on Apple Podcasts. Leave us a rating there as well. That helps us out. I know that we're a little behind on posting those. And I can't exactly tell you when they'll be on there. I'm trying to get that done. I'll let you know. Follow us on Twitter. You can follow me at Babababs. It's right here if you're watching the video version. You can follow Logan at LoggyDoves. It's right below me in the video version as well. You can follow us as a collective at Breakroom Arcade. That's where you'll get all the big updates on what's going on with us. You'll see when new videos are posted. You'll get that short notice tweet like Logan tweeted out earlier. Most importantly, join the Discord server. That's where you're going to get the most up-to-date updates on what we're doing, as we're always going to go to Discord first. You can chat with us if you want to talk to us about what we're doing, or if you just want to talk to us about something else. Make sure to do that in the Discord server. Link to that in the description. In addition to that, if you really like what we do here and you want to help support us, you can become a member on the YouTube channel, or you can join our Patreon for as little as $1 a month. We will talk to you guys more about what we're doing with the Patreon once we're ready to share that information. With all that in mind, guys, I want to thank you guys for listening to the show or watching it if you're watching it on YouTube. Thank you for giving us this opportunity. There's some cool stuff happening behind the scenes, and it's been very uplifting for us, I think. But, as usual, don't break your backs. Break in the games, but for now, break time's over. I didn't set the end slate, so we're just going to say goodbye, and I'm going to wave, and then I'm going to hit end stream. But thanks for hanging out with us, guys.